Under the blood-red sky of Apokolips, the planet of fire and ash, the air was heavy with the smell of sulfur and the roar of war machines. The towering black mountains, carved by molten lava, reflected the orange-red light of giant furnaces. At the center of the planet, Darkseid's palace stood like an impregnable fortress, its polished black granite walls, engraved with the ancient symbols of the new gods, shimmering with a ghostly light. In the central hall, Darkseid, the Lord of Darkness, sat on a throne carved from obsidian, his eyes glowing red like two burning furnaces. He was more than just a ruler, he was the embodiment of destruction, a being beyond any conception of power the universe had ever seen. Today, the air in the palace was shaken by an unexpected event. A tall, muscular figure stepped through the main gate, his combat boots making a dry sound on the stone floor. It was General Zod, the last of the Kryptonians, the one who had brought his entire planet to its knees under his iron will. His silver armor gleamed under the red light of Apokolips, but Zod's eyes did not waver. In his heart, the flames of pride and vengeance burned. He had come not to negotiate, but to challenge Darkseid himself. Zod stood before the throne, his voice thundering. "I am Zod, the ruler of Krypton. Darkseid, I have come to prove that no god can surpass the will of a Kryptonian warrior." Darkseid tilted his head slightly. His stiff lips curved into a cold smile. He did not answer immediately, but his crimson eyes swept over Zod as if looking into his heart. A deep laugh, like the roar of a storm, rang out from Darkseid's chest. "You dare enter Apokolips, mortal. You think you can challenge me, a new god, wielder of the Omega effect." Zod did not flinch. He clenched his fists, his hard muscles straining beneath his armor. "I need no gods to prove my power. I will make you kneel before me, Darkseid." The air in the hall became oppressive. Darkseid's parademon guards, with their insect-like wings and distorted faces, began to growl, but Darkseid raised his hand to stop them. He stood, his body a towering mountain, radiating a pressure that shook the air. "Very well, Zod," Darkseid said, his voice as deep as a bell of doom. "I will give you your chance. But remember, on Apokolips, only the strongest survive." As the two titans prepare for battle, Zod's mind wanders back to his days on Krypton, a planet destroyed by the arrogance of his own people. He recalls his days as a general, standing at the pinnacle of power, leading the Kryptonian army against unseen enemies. Zod was once Krypton's hope, but also its outcast as he tried to save the planet by imposing his will. Exiled to the Phantom Zone, Zod spent his lonely years in the shadows, feeding only the fires of hatred and the desire to prove himself the strongest. But now, standing before Darkseid, Zod senses a difference. Darkseid is unlike any enemy he has ever faced. He is not just a warrior. He is a being, a living will to destroy. For a brief moment, Zod wondered if he was entering a battle that even Kryptonian might could not overcome. But the thought was quickly quashed. Zod never doubted himself. He was Kryptonian, and Kryptonian never bowed. In another corner of Apokolips, another figure watched from afar. It was Kal-El, aka Superman, Zod's cousin and his sworn enemy. Superman, his red cape billowing, stood on a high cliff, his deep blue eyes looking down on Darkseid's palace. He had come to Apokolips not to fight, but to prevent a catastrophe. Superman knew that if Zod and Darkseid clashed, the entire universe would pay the price. But in his heart, a small part of him still wanted to believe that Zod, despite his cruelty, could still be saved. The battle began in a massive arena built from massive black stone blocks, surrounded by stands filled with roaring parademons. Zod charged forward, lightning fast, his first punch sending a shockwave that split the ground. Darkseid, with terrifying calm, raised his hand to block the punch, his body not wavering. A red beam of energy, the Omega beam, shot from Darkseid's eyes, chasing Zod like a fiery snake. Zod dodged at superhuman speed, but the beam changed direction, biting into his shoulder, causing Zod to roar in pain. "You think you're faster than the Omega effect?" Darkseid sneered, his voice piercing the air. Zod responded with a series of attacks, each punch as powerful as a nuclear explosion. The stone walls surrounding the arena shook, dust flying. But Darkseid, with the power of a god, seemed unharmed. He raised his hand, and a jet of dark energy erupted, sending Zod flying hundreds of meters back, crashing into a rocky mountain. From the stands, Superman clenched his fists, his heart aching as he watched Zod being overwhelmed. He knew Darkseid's power. He had faced him before, been defeated, and only survived with the help of teammates like Lightray and the Justice League. But Zod had no allies. He had only himself and his unyielding pride. As the battle dragged on, Zod began to feel the difference. Each blow from Darkseid carried the weight of an entire galaxy. He was more than just physically strong. Darkseid's will was a supernatural force, something beyond any concept of strength Zod had ever known. But Zod did not give up. He rose from the rubble, Kryptonian blood streaming down his face, eyes blazing like fire. "You are no god!" Zod roared, charging at Darkseid with all the strength he had left. He threw a punch so powerful that the space around them seemed to warp, light bending from the force of the impact. Darkseid took a step back. Just a step, but it was enough to make Zod smile. He had done what few had ever done, made Darkseid waver. But the joy was short-lived. Darkseid raised his hand, and another Omega beam shot out, this time aimed not only at Zod, but also at the surrounding area. The arena disintegrated, giant boulders flew everywhere, and Zod was buried under the rubble. In the distance, Superman could no longer stand still. He swooped down, the light from his body like a shooting star, intercepting the Omega beam before it could finish off Zod. "Darkseid, stop!" Superman shouted, his voice echoing through the ashes. "This is not your way." Darkseid looked at Superman, his crimson eyes flashing with contempt. "Kal-El, you are as weak as ever. Did you come to save your enemy, or did you come to die with him?" The battle was no longer between Zod and Darkseid. Superman, caught between loyalty and duty, faced an impossible choice: save Zod, who had betrayed him, or let Darkseid destroy everything. Zod, badly wounded, stood up, his eyes looking at Superman not with gratitude but with contempt. "I don't need you, Kal-El," Zod roared, pushing Superman away and charging at Darkseid once more. But this time Darkseid lost his patience. He unleashed one final blow, a blast of Omega energy so powerful that Apokolips itself shook. Zod was sent flying, his body falling into the molten lava, disappearing in a red glow. Superman screamed, charging at Darkseid with all his might. But he knew, deep down, that even he could not defeat Darkseid alone. The fight ended in painful silence, as Superman knelt by the lava where Zod had disappeared. He did not cry, but his eyes held the pain of someone who had just lost a part of himself.
Under the cold silver light of the Fortress of Solitude, Superman stood motionless, his deep blue eyes fixed on the starry sky, where the stars twinkled like the shattered memories of Krypton. The air in the fortress was suffocatingly quiet, broken only by the echoes of ancient machines, once built by Kryptonian scientists to preserve the memories of a lost civilization. In his chest, his heart pounded, not from fatigue, but from an indescribable pain. Zod, his cousin, his enemy, and part of Krypton, had disappeared into the fiery lava of Apokolips. Superman wondered if there was anything else he could have done to save him, or if Zod had truly chosen the path to destruction. He walked slowly to the center of the fortress, where a crystal hovered, glowing a gentle blue. It was the crystal of memory, which held the image of Jor-El, his father, and the teachings of Kryptonian duty. Superman touched the crystal, and a hologram appeared. Jor-El, his face stern but compassionate, appeared before him. "Kal-El, my son," Jor-El's voice rang out, deep as the sound of waves crashing on the shore. "You carry the hope of Krypton, but you also carry the burden of the mistakes our people have made. Zod has chosen his own path. You cannot change that." Superman bowed his head, his voice hoarse. "Father, I tried to stop him, but Zod, he never listened. He would rather die than admit defeat. What else could I have done?" Jor-El smiled sadly. "You did what a true hero does. You chose compassion, even in the face of your enemies. But remember, Kal-El, strength lies not in defeating others, but in protecting what is precious." Jor-El's words were like a sharp knife, cutting deep into Superman's mind. He thought of Zod, of his unyielding pride, and of how he had faced Darkseid without fear. Even if Zod was wrong, even if he was cruel, he was still a part of Krypton, a part Superman could not deny. He vowed to continue fighting, not only to protect Earth, but to honor Krypton's legacy in a way that Zod could not. But in the darkness of the fortress, a sense of unease crept into Superman's mind. He felt a strange energy, as if Apokolips were still watching him. Darkseid, with his glowing red eyes, is not one to forget a fight. And Zod, is he really dead? Back on Apokolips, the planet was still bathed in the red glow of lava and ash. Darkseid's palace, though ravaged by the battle with Zod, still stood tall as a symbol of untouchable power. In the main hall, Darkseid sat on his throne, his massive hands gripping the arms of the chair, his gaze fixed on the void, as if looking through space and time. He was not satisfied. The battle with Zod, though it ended in his victory, had not brought him the satisfaction he had hoped for. Zod, though a mere mortal, had made him take a step back, something that even other gods rarely did.
Suddenly, the air in the hall shook. A boom tube portal opened, glowing a brilliant golden light, and a figure stepped out. It was Darkseid, Darkseid's loyal advisor and most cunning schemer. His face gaunt, his eyes gleaming with malice, Darkseid knelt before the throne, his voice trembling but full of excitement. "My lord, I bring news," Darkseid said, his thin hands clutching a strange piece of technology. "General Zod, he is not dead. The energy from your Omega beam has triggered an anomalous reaction in his Kryptonian body. He is alive, but trapped in another dimension." Darkseid raised an eyebrow, his crimson eyes flashing with curiosity. "Another dimension? Be more specific, Darkseid." Darkseid swallowed, clearly afraid of his master's presence. "My lord, Zod's Kryptonian body has absorbed some of the Omega effect energy. Instead of being destroyed, he has been pushed into a dimensional rift, a place that is difficult for even us to reach. But I believe that with Apokolips technology, we can bring him back, or destroy him forever." Darkseid fell silent, his hands tapping on the throne, each tap a heartbeat of this dead planet. Finally he spoke, his voice as deep as thunder. "Zod is a nuisance, but also a fun challenge. If he lives, I want him to stand before me once more. Find him, Darkseid. Bring him here, or I will make you pay." Darkseid bowed his head, sweat beading on his forehead. He knew that failure was not an option in serving Darkseid, but in his heart, Darkseid was also secretly calculating. If he could control Zod, turning him into a weapon against Apokolips's other enemies, his own power would increase. A sly smile appeared on Darkseid's lips as he left the hall, preparing to activate Apokolips's teleportation machines. Using a left where light and darkness blend into distorted bands of color, Zod floats aimlessly. His body, though torn by the battle with Darkseid, radiates a powerful life force. The Omega beam energy, instead of destroying him, activates something deep within his Kryptonian DNA. Zod feels his power growing, but at the same time he is trapped in a world that does not exist, where time and space seem to obey no laws. Around him, blurry images appear like vivid memories. He sees Krypton, with its cities sparkling with light, its towering spires touching the sky. He sees himself, standing at the pinnacle of power, hailed as a hero by his people. But then, the image turns to darkness the day Krypton fell, the day he was exiled to the Phantom Zone. These memories are not just images. They were like blades, cutting deep into Zod's mind, making him scream in anger and pain. "I am Zod," he shouted, his voice echoing in the endless void. "I will not be imprisoned, not by the Phantom Zone, not by Darkseid, not by anyone." Suddenly a bright yellow light appeared, tearing the space around him. From the light, a strange machine emerged, with sharp mechanical arms and flickering light. It was Apokolips technology, sent by Darkseid to track down Zod. But instead of being captured, Zod charged forward, using his Kryptonian powers to smash the machine. Pieces of metal flew everywhere, sparks flying in the distorted space. Zod gasped, his eyes flashing with determination. He knew he could not stay here forever. If Apokolips is after him, there is still a chance to return and face Darkseid. But this time, he will not fight alone. In Zod's mind, a daring plan begins to form. He will find a way to join forces with other enemies of Darkseid, who can help him overthrow the Dark God. Back on Earth, Superman receives a strange signal from the Fortress of Solitude. The memory crystal vibrates, emitting an unusual energy, as if trying to warn him of an impending danger. He activates the fortress's analysis system, and a hologram appears, showing a space rift opening near the edge of the solar system. From the rift, Omega effect energy radiates, carrying Zod's trace. Superman's fists clench, his heart in turmoil. If Zod is alive, he must find him before Darkseid does. But he also knows that confronting Apokolips again will not be easy. He needs allies. Superman contacts the Justice League,
summoning Wonder Woman, Batman, and Green Lantern to the Fortress of Solitude. In the Fortress's conference room, Wonder Woman, with her jet black hair and glowing gold armor, speaks first. Cal, if Zod is indeed alive and being hunted by Darkseid, we're not just facing one enemy. This could be an all-out war on Apokolips. Batman, his voice low and sharp, added, Zod is not someone to be manipulated. If he survives, he'll seek revenge on Darkseid, and that could draw the entire Earth into the fire. We need a plan. Green Lantern, his ring glowing with green energy, nodded. I've faced Darkseid's parademons before. If he's opening a boom tube to hunt Zod, we don't have much time. Superman looked at his teammates, his heart heavy, but also filled with determination. We're going to the dimensional rift. If Zod is alive, I want to bring him back. Or at least prevent him from becoming Darkseid's weapon. Meanwhile, in the dimensional rift, Zod meets an unexpected ally, Orion, son of Darkseid and a new god. Orion, a burly figure with eyes burning with will, has discovered Zod's plan. Despite being of Apokolips blood, Orion hates his father and is willing to work with anyone to stop Darkseid. Zod, I know who you are, Orion says, his voice as deep as the sound of waves. If you want to defeat Darkseid, I will help you. But remember, I am not your ally. I only want to see Apokolips fall. Zod smiles, a cold but calculating smile. Very well, new god. Together, we will bring Darkseid to his knees.